Okay, we're live. Welcome to the RG DFS Tournament Takes Podcast, Week 4 edition. I am your host, Chris Kirkwood, screen name Kirk D's, here with my two boys. First this week, I'm going to lead it off. I'm going to change it up a little bit here. Lead it off with former Millie Maker winner, MLB crusher this season, all-around big football guy, though. Goes as the Fantasy Bros, Bobby Gomes DFS. On Twitter at Bobby Gomes DFS. Bobby, what's going on? Welcome.
Nothing. Happy to be here. Me and Kirky yesterday, we went over to Salvation Army, donated a little bit, so got good mojo going on for this week. So a little excited for week 4.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. That we did do that. I gave away a boatload of old clothes that I've never even been worn, I don't think. But they were happy to get it. But I'm hoping to get some good karma from that. But we'll let that come naturally. And the man, the myth, the legend, the man who started it all from a kid with a broom and a sweeping broom and a dream at the gym, sweeping the floors just to get in, then takes over the gym, becomes a big entrepreneur, multimillionaire, CrossFit owner, Zumba instructor, DFS crusher, one of the best GPP minds in DFS, one of the co-founders of you're one of them, of Run Pure Sports, RPS. My boy, JSU Rab, what's going on?
Yeah, I've never done an actual Zumba class, but every time I hear you say it, it does make me laugh and go, what the hell is Zumba? I got to check that out sometime. So maybe I'll have to check out a Zumba class one day. But yeah, it's good to be back on the show. Interesting week 3 going into week 4. And honestly, too, we just had the Thursday night game, and I want to get the Tua takes out. I mean, like Tua takes. I got a very strong take about him and what the heck happened on Sunday. But he was concussed on Sunday, right? Everyone agrees on that.
100%. And I was happy he came back out because I needed him.
Yeah, no. See,
sorry. The week before. The week before. Yes.
The week before. Yeah, we're talking about Sunday. He gets hurt. They evaluate him.
He comes back out for the second half, which I needed. Yep.
Yeah, because I had Miami money line. That was the bet. I gave it on the show, I think, too. It was my dog bet. I gave my dog bets have hit every week so far. Miami money line came through. Thank you for all the doctors who cheated and let Tua come back in so I could win my bet on Sunday. But that was terrible. And the fact that they let him come back in that game was really bad. It was a bad look for the NFL. It was a bad look overall. And then they compound that with the next concussion, which was awful to see. And the fact that they kept showing him get hit,
the hands,
the fingers, they kept showing it. Why did they keep showing it?
Yeah, it was tough to watch. I feel like my girl was like, I can't watch this. She was like, and she left the room.
Yeah.
I was thinking understand. I think they kind of, during the broadcast, I think they not addressing the situation like earlier on in the broadcast was kind of weird for me. Like maybe they had to get confirmation if they could basically talk about how he had been concussed the week previously. But then I think they handled it pretty well, basically going into it. And
I thought they handled it terribly by showing it 1,000 times.
The NFL, there's no way he should be playing.
No, but I'm saying they kept showing the replay of him getting thrown down and then him with his fingers like laying down. Bob, like we didn't need to see that like multiple times.
Like afterwards, I forget who hit on it, but someone kind of hit on it, like the whole situation. So I don't know. In terms of like showing it, yeah, I probably wouldn't have kept showing it. But
yeah, I just don't understand.
Yeah, it was terrible. But since you gave a winner, I'm going to give a winner real quick to start the show. Because I'm going to be right after this show, I'm going to be driving to New Hampshire to go to the beautiful state line, to the rest stop, pull over, and pump in a massive UFC bet for tomorrow. So everyone's going to be listening to this tomorrow. So this will still be a good bet before 4 p.m. Saturday. But the line is steaming up. I don't like the line. It's been going up. I should have hit it earlier, but I just haven't been able to get out there. But it's Mike Davis. This dude is electric. He's an animal on the feet, but he shouldn't need to be on the feet against this guy who's Borisov is a technical kickboxer. good striker, but if he should be able to take this guy down at will and just control him the entire match. He should have no chance of losing if he has the right game plan. But even if he does stand down the feet, the guy's an electric animal either. He probably knocks him out, but this is a Kirk all in play. So we're going to drop the hammer tomorrow.
What's his name again? I gotta make sure I get my bet in.
Mike Davis. He's up to minus 199. So it's chalk. Like there's still value there. He should win this.
All right, I'm in. I'm tailing.
Yeah,
I'm tailing Kirk D's. It's not a dog bet, Kirk, but that's okay. I
give him on. I give out plenty of dogs in UFC. Plus, trust me, I'm always looking for dogs. I'm just looking for the value play, regardless. I just want the winners. But I'll take the better price. But the lines has been moving up, and I wish I got it earlier. It was way too low, definitely. But anyways, it's a winner, and I know you guys are on Pure Sports like winners, right?
That's right. I know Big T was giving out winners. I think it was right after the Monday night game. He told everyone bet the Bengals. Easy winner. Bengals won. I don't know if it was easy, but it was a winner. That's all that matters, right, Kirk? At the end of the day, it's not how it gets done. It's all about the final score, and the final score was
winners
Bengals
win, right?
That's
all it is. The winners win.
That's all I know too. So yeah, that's and Tyreek's an animal. I mean, that's another thing. Like the guy is just a freak. That catch was insane.
Oh my God! If he caught, I needed the last catch for him to bank showdown. It was only Yahoo, but it would have been 7,000. That last catch, the throw was terrible. I just needed I needed a half a point from Tyreek, and it was sad. I mean, okay. So anyway, let's talk about last week's results. I did terrible, but I had excuses. I had to go to a golf tournament for a friend that passed away, and I was in traffic all day. I had no sleep going into Sunday, and I spent all morning making Rainmaker lineups, which probably only had $20 of EV, and I left my Yahoo out to dry till last minute, and so but I had a good lineup. It just didn't work out.
I want to know, does DraftKings give you guys any bump backs for saying Rainmakers multiple times on this show? How much money do you guys get in kickbacks?
Nothing,
from your
but
boys over
John
there?
Aguilar is a good friend, so he appreciates. You got to stay on his good side.
There you go.
But anyways, so no, but what it was just stupidity on my part. So this week I get to sleep tomorrow night, hopefully, if my baby doesn't keep me up all night, and come in fresh, and I'm gonna crush this week. I did crush showdown each game, so I almost made up for last Sunday. But anyways, how'd you guys do?
Jesse, you want to go?
I mean, I will go, but I do want to just hit up the comment section from last week, because I do like engaging with the people, and I actually love when people give respectful I wouldn't even say criticism. They just disagree, but it's respectful. You know what I mean? I don't like it when people are just freaking out, you guys stink or blah, blah, blah. You think this is going to happen? No, Jerome here gives a respectful disagreement. He says, which I don't understand though, because I think it was misconstrued what I actually said, but just to be clear, he says, I think some of the high-end running backs have higher ownership. You won't see the construction with 2 RB pay-ups. You'll see a ton of double pay downs at running back last week. And he was right that you would see a ton of double pay downs. And the actual stud running back ownership was really low. And definitely the 2 stud pay-up builds were probably even lower in ownership when you look at it. So he wasn't wrong. And so I'm giving him credit for actually being wrong. But what I said was I would just prefer to be different within that same spend down roster construction. And that's where I gave out the Cordarrelle Pattersons. You have Devin Singletary, Josh Jacobs ended up being low owned. These are guys that ended up on winning lineups. So I'm not saying he was wrong. I'm just saying that that's what I said, just to be clear. I didn't say that spending up for 2 RBs was not going to be different or low owned. I just preferred not to go that route. And that's where it was. So I'm still going to give Jerome his credit. I like that he He gave his thoughts. I think more people should give their thoughts. If you
Oh,
want,
I love the
thoughts,
comments. Once it goes
Yeah.
up, I'm always like checking the comments. Shout out to Gator Nation, who said this is coming one of his favorite DFS shows. Our boy Don Yeezy always likes our content. Rob noticed Reggie peeking around the corner. My boy's solid
he's
picks
back there.
gave my quote that I would roster head chopper at RB if he was on the slate against the Jets. We might have another situation.
I would roster head chopper against the Jets. I'm in. I'm in with you solid picks.
Yeah. Please leave comments respectfully. Hopefully, tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. But be respectful.
Andrew,
we're all just here to try to win. You know what I mean?
But my guy Andrew, the last comment at the bottom, he was not happy about our Carson Wentz hate, I guess you would say.
So would you guess where you would think he's probably somewhere in the DC area? Wouldn't you think?
I would say so.
Remember that guy Big Easy? He used to do the same thing with Chicago Bears. Back when we started the show.
Yeah, he was a nice guy though, Big Easy. He was
a nice guy. Yeah. It actually
but
that's how remember. That's how you remember people.
I will just say that game was about as bad as you can look for Carson Wentz, the O-line, just the complete offense, and it was a total domination. The score doesn't even do it justice because the Eagles totally took their foot off the gas at the end, but my God, did they just whoop the Washington team. I mean, it was just a domination, and I told everyone on every show I did, I said, don't even look at defense. Don't even look at defense. Just play the Eagles. Take your double-digit fantasy points and move on. And if you played the Eagles, you were very happy. So hopefully a lot of people listened. Hopefully everyone played the Eagles. I played the Eagles on pretty much every team, and I felt very good about it.
Relax on the defensive talk because Bobby is ready. Bobby, this is his revenge game here today. He's ready to have the great.
I will say everyone loves Bobby's defensive segment. Yeah. It's become a thing on the show. So we gotta adapt, Kirk.
So I can't wait till we're there. So he's gonna crush it this week. It's all
I'm saying now I have to adapt and I have to give
your game up. Yeah,
that owns Bobby's 5 defenses. You know what I mean? Like Bobby liked the Eagles, so I had to give him credit because he liked the Eagles, but he also liked a few other defenses. So I have to go all in on one just so I can own them with my all-in play. And I have it. I have my team this week. I'll be ready when it comes to the defense.
Yeah, we're not there yet. So all right. Week 4, we got 12 games. We don't have a ton of action for high totals. We got one total over 50 points, and that is the marquee game of the Bills -3 points at the Ravens with a 51-point total. Great game. A lot of narrative behind each defense. Like the narrative, the Bills secondary has been, has been decimated, and but they played pretty good in their game last week. Defense, and then the Ravens defense has just been in shambles, and they have not been playing well in the defensive. I mean, they let Mac Jones freaking light them up in passing. So, and Lamar is just playing outstanding football, like just a whole different level. Like if he keeps this up, then man, he's going to run away with MVP. But so that's the marquee game. Other than that, we've got 2 games with 47.5-point totals. We got Seattle at the Lions, which is kind of funny because this is like a gross game, right? Like we got Jared Goff against Geno Smith. We've got injuries to like the best skill players on the Lions with DeAndre Swift being out and Amon-Ra St. Brown being out. So there's a lot of risk here, right? This game has like the potential to go off, but also has the potential to bust. Wouldn't you agree? Potentially,
I would agree. Yeah.
And then we've got Cleveland -1.5 points in the Dome in Atlanta, 47.5-point total. Mariota's looking revamped. We'll get into that because he's going to be popular at QB. But I'm sure you guys will have some takes of that. Then below that, there's like 2 games over 45-point total, which is the Jags at the Eagles. The Jags are playing good, man. There's a lot of offensive weapons there. Their defense has been pretty good too against the run that they've been getting decimated versus the pass. Eagles have looked phenomenal on the offensive end and on the defensive end, but that looks like a good game. And then there's Denver at the Raiders, 45.5. Doesn't really look so good, but I guess there'll be some plays there. Denver coaching staff is just a bunch of donks, is what my take there. And then, man, I don't know. I can't stand watching Russell Wilson play anymore. I just can't stomach it anymore. But there. So what's the big slate overview, big picture to you, Bobby? How's this slate looking to you?
Yeah, it's looking good. Not a lot of high totals. I think some of the chalk's really shaky. So I think there's good GPP pivots that we can kind of attack in terms of construction. So, yeah, looking forward to getting into the slate.
JSU, what stands out to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that we have a lot of running backs on this slate personally, where a lot of people are going to feel very comfortable with some of these guys. So it's going to be a different slate than last week, where I feel like everyone was more comfortable getting up to those stud wide receivers, and there was a ton of them too, where this week the stud wide receiver pool is trimmed because of some of the teams that are off the main slate. And the running back pool is a lot, I think, bigger, and we got a lot of guys that are thrusted into main role spots that are going to have high ownership. So you're going to have to figure out what you want to do with some of these guys, because I don't think you can fade all of them. So you got to just figure out who the best of them are and build accordingly. I would say too, like to people who played David Montgomery, if you played David Montgomery last week, like it wasn't a bad play because he got injured. He just got injured, and that's football. Like Khalil Herbert ran.
Dude, he was going to crush. He was absolutely going to smash.
I mean, when Khalil Herbert's running for 140 or 50 yards or whatever he had, like they were going to run all over that team. Like they were. I told you guys that offensive line was better. I mean, it just is. Like it's just the truth. So
yeah, Montgomery was going to be a smash. There's no way. There's two sickening things in this world.
I mean, he wasn't going to completely bust, is my point. Like he might not have smashed.
Oh no, he was going to smash. He was going to smash. I'm confident.
He may have. Yeah, I'm just saying though. Maybe Herbert still steals like some points and stuff like that. My point is though, like that's just unfortunate. Like that's what it is.
Football.
The Lenny play
football.
Was the bad play, and I think we were kind of on this show. We were more like.
Yeah, we were like play Monty and Lenny. Lenny seems like the fade. That's how
we were on the Lenny fade. Yeah.
Yeah. There's two sickening things in this world. Number one is the amount of short shaming that's going on now. Did you see Blender the other day on the he short shamed Ship My Money or something? I mean, it's just sickening to see. I hate it. And then football.
And then I got added into the conversation on Twitter.
Yeah, me too. Someone had they had to add me too.
I didn't see that. They at me. They at my guy Mangone. They added us both and said we're in this conversation too. First of all, listen, some of those guys, they couldn't literally throw me 1 foot. Like some of those guys, they're skinny. They're 5'9", 5'10", and skin and bones. Stop it. They can't. I mean, Bobby's a big dude. He could probably toss me, but like,
I think I'd be afraid to get in the ring with you.
I just wanted to let that out that it's sickening the amount of short shame that goes on in this today.
In this
era. Today in this day and age. And the other thing is
Bobby's got to sit silent during this conversation. Like he can't say anything because he's actually tall. Bobby's
the other sick thing was like I finally had my Montgomery spot, and I was just going to jam everything with him, and then he gets injured, and then it looks like all the Montgomery was the fade. People think they're right when Herbert absolutely smashed.
Lenny somehow was on some of the winners too, which was the annoying part. Like
nobody smashed but Herbert, like basically.
Yeah, I was. Did you guys see the lineup with the kid who had Montgomery in the Millie Maker, and I think he ended up 4th, but it was the best like Montgomery lineup in the Millie Maker, and he ended up 4th, and I'm like, oh my, this is sickening. Like with a 1, and he was 4 points back in the Millie. Like that's just gross. And he tied with someone for 4th. They had a different team. It was like a completely different roster.
You might say he came up just a little bit short,
All right, there you go. Segue.
All right. So here we go. So first thing I do is I look at the Blitz most plays, which is crazy this week. It's the Jets in Pitt as the most plays. Like I wasn't expecting to see that in Derek Carty's Blitz. maybe things are updating. I don't know, maybe, but that's not their number one. Then the Chargers at Houston and Jacks at Philly. So those are the most plays, at least from according to the Blitz. But then I always correlate with Thorman's snaps and pace article over on Establish the Run, and he's got up and pace games. Jags at Eagles. So that game is starred by each of them, and then he's got the Bills Ravens, which I would have expected, and then Seattle and the Lions. So I don't know, maybe it's a good week for some of these blitz contrarian games, but we'll talk about it. But let's start it out. We're gonna start off with running back position. Then we're gonna go over to QBs and then wide receivers like we do. Normally we close it out at tight ends, but we don't do that anymore because we got defensive Bobby segment. So he's going to break down the defenses. JSU is ready, I guess, as you said. So he'll have some too. I'm still going to stay out of that one this week, but maybe next week I'll dip my toes into that fight for defense. But okay. So running backs, this is where the chalk is this week. So like quarterback, the interesting about the slate, quarterback, we have like the three really high-end plays, but they're priced very high, right? Like we got Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, all over 8K, 82, 83, and 8,400. So it's kind of tough to make good lineups with those guys. However, the value at running back is apparent because we've got Jamal Williams with DeAndre Swift out against the Seahawks in a game that people like to go off. We've got Khalil Herbert, David Montgomery already ruled out again against the Giants, who are have been gashed against the run here. So they're 28th in DVOA versus the run. So we're going to talk about those plays. You got another guy, cheap guy that's who's played really well, but hasn't broken any slates or anything, but could be his week this week is Josh Jacobs. A tough matchup with Denver, it seems like. And then we got the high-end guys. We got Saquon, who's going to get a lot of ownership at 8K against Chicago. And that's pretty much because what we've been saying, it's just this guy just gets all the snaps. The Giants have nobody anymore at receiver, right? So you would think that they would pepper him with targets. They don't always do it. I don't get it, but we'll see this week. Austin Eckler is in the mix. Jonathan Taylor is up there on the high end. This should be the week that he probably goes off against Tennessee. And then we've got a pretty stacked mid range too, with like Najee Harris, who I'm sure we'll have some interesting opinions there. Maybe some of us will disagree, but it's a matchup against the Jets, and I would play head chopper against the Jets. So Najee Harris, you're on the squad this week. Javonte Williams, James Conner. I mean, there's a ton of plays here. So first of all, how are you guys handling Jamal and Herbert? And what are your favorite plays? Start with you, JSU.
Yeah, so I've got some interesting takes on the Detroit side, but starting off with Herbert, I guess I feel like he's a good play. I feel like the Cowboys, who kind of stuffed it right down friggin' the Giants' throat and literally just said, we're going to pound the rock and you can't stop it. Like, they just did it. They did it. And I think the Bears could do that. I think it's going to be a sloppy game. There's going to be some weather in this game too. I think rain, some wind, not like crazy. I don't think it's going to be like crazy wind, but like, I don't know exactly what the rain's going to be, but I know it's supposed to rain a little bit. So the conditions on the field might not be the best, but I think Khalil Herbert is just a good player. I've been talking up this O-line for Chicago. I think it's just better than what people thought coming into the year. And I think people were kind of slow to see it at first, and now they're catching up to it maybe a little bit. I also think people think Herbert's just good. That's the other thing. So there's a little bit of both going on. But I got no issues with him personally as a DFS play. And neither Jamal. My thing with Jamal more is I don't think he gets like 70 or 80% of the work. I think that it's more like 55, 60% for Jamal. And I think Craig Reynolds gets the 40% ish of the snaps. Now, I could be completely wrong here, but it feels like they really like this kid. He was getting snaps. They talked him up at Hard Knocks. I've seen him get run. He's actually decent too. I saw him last year. He was pretty good. They like him. And Jamal's a veteran. He's a veteran that they value too. They use him in goal line situations. You could tell they valued him if you just watched Hard Knocks. Like, he is a legit leader of this team, even if he's not the most talented guy, which I'm not saying that by any means. I think as a team guy, he is very valued. So going up against Seattle, right, I don't think they're going to feel the need to push this older, more tread on the tires type veteran running back who they value a huge amount of snaps. Now, he'll play the valued snaps when they get down in the red zone, which of course we'll want, right? Because it's against Seattle. Seattle's terrible. I said it last week. I'll keep saying it. I'm going to play people against Seattle. I'm just like, it's a rule. Like, every week, I'm going to play running backs. I'm going to play wide receivers because Seattle's just not good defensively.
Wait till you hear my defensive take this week.
Oh, baby, I can't wait for it. If it's Seattle, I'm literally going to fall off this chair. But
it might
anyways,
be Seattle.
I think that Craig Reynolds is actually really sneaky for DFS. He's 4,700 on DraftKings, 5,100 on FanDuel. Now, if Detroit gets up in this game, I think it makes him even more comfortable about leading more carries to Jamal Williams. But I do think if you're fading Jamal, playing a leverage play like Craig Reynolds or playing the passing game, maybe stacking two wide receivers with Goff and fading the running game for the passing game, I think those are interesting ways to go. Now, I think Bobby might have a different way of leveraging if you're fading Jamal, but those are ways where you could get to a top of a Millie Maker format. So just try to think of ways to how you see that game going. If you're like me and you think that total didn't move, right? All those guys got ruled out and the total didn't move. Well, that's telling me the odds makers, the people think there's going to be points in this game. I agree. I think there's going to be points in this game. I don't think that just because Amon-Ra and Swift go out, there's not going to be. So there's going to be scoring. Where's the scoring come from? That's just the way I look at it. And I'm going to either try and get leverage with the backup running back, who I think plays more and is actually good too in Millie Maker formats, or the passing game, which you can get two cheap pass catchers with Jared Goff very easily.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I just want to throw a couple of points there. So I think Craig Reynolds is actually good. He's not, people are going to learn about him this week. Not everybody knows about him, but he's talented. But the thing that I love about Jamal Williams is that he was already seeing about 90% of the work inside the 10, right? Like, so in all the high value touches down there,
that's where they use them. They won't stop using them there.
And,
so
and not only that,
gets there, it's a big run, right, Kirk? Like, or it's volume. Like,
he's
not getting there, stealing goal line touches is the point.
Or like you said, the point where they blow him out and like they pull put the brakes on Jamal and let him just eat up a bunch of.
I'm telling you, there's no way they want Jamal playing like a massive amount of snaps.
But if this game's tight, I think there is the ceiling for him to have a massive workload in this game.
I mean, I think he could play 60% of the snaps and still get a ceiling. He could easily have 2 touchdowns in this game.
He was Green Bay's passing back, so it's not like he can't be used as like the passing back. I mean, he can do it all. And Seattle is also a great matchup. And it's also in the dome. Right. So there's a lot of good things. And especially there's a lot of weather concerns, because of the hurricane heading up the East Coast now all the way down. So there's a lot of rain potential in some of these games. So I think there's a lot of positives there for him. What do you think, Bobby?
Yeah. So instead of Reynolds, I don't hate the Reynolds play. I think it's a good play for large field GPPs. I like Penny at 4,900. Detroit's run D is not great. I think it's a good pivot. I actually like Seattle D with it because you're getting so much congested ownership in this total on a Jared Goff. Like, Jared Goff's pretty much at the helm of this Lions offense right now. So I think there's question marks there. You're going to get Hawkins and Chalk. You're going to get, what's his name? Josh Reynolds and
Josh Reynolds,
Williams.
Josh Reynolds has looked good. He's got the connection with Goff already, so there's like that safety there.
Yeah, no, definitely. For me right now, I'm not planning on playing Jamal Williams. I think I'd play Herbert. I like Herbert. I think he's a good running back. The issue for Herbert, just like to play devil's advocate, the weather looks bad, like 15 to 20 mile an hour winds. This team, all they do is run the ball. So if the Giants want to stack the box, it could be a way that Herbert doesn't get there. JSU kind of hit on it. The O-line is pretty good for the Bears. So right now I'm on Herbert, but my fade would be Williams currently, and I like doing it with Penny.
All right. What about these high-end guys? What about like
One more thing. Penny played 69% of the snaps last week.
Just to be clear, I'm on Penny too. I'm on Penny too. I like Penny. I like the Penny call. I think he's a good play. I think he's a good play whether you play Jamal or not. Like, I think he's just a fine play at 4,900. Like
they're like the worst in the league versus the run. I'm pretty positive Detroit, right?
Yeah, and again, if you see points from the Seattle side, like Bobby, Tyler Lockett's going to be chalk. Like Tyler friggin' Lockett, like that's a way to get leverage on that. If you're not playing Tyler Lockett, like play Rashad Penny, play the run game. I'm with you 100%.
And why does everyone automatically assume, like the big narrative right now is that like, oh, Geno Smith is passing a ton. Those Seattle, they had Russ and all they did was run, and now they're passing a ton with Geno Smith, and he's actually passing it deep, and 44 passing attempts last week. Like Pete Carroll dreams about the games where in a good rushing matchup where he can just pound his lead back, right? Like this is just because it's been a couple of weeks with Geno Smith. I mean, do we really believe that Geno Smith is going to open up this offense, or do we think that Pete Carroll's going to go back to what he knows best and just jam Rashad Penny in what's a very great matchup?
I bet on the latter pretty much. And Homer's out too, so you're taking another back out of there that could steal usage from Penny. Penny's a really good play.
I said it last week too, and he saw less of stacked boxes this past week, but Penny's still like top 5 or 6 and just like teams that are stacking the box on like 25% of his like touches. So he's facing stacked boxes. He's still like getting some production, but that's one of the issues is like when he's out there, I think teams just do it. Like I think
that's what I'm worried about with Herbert.
They use the pass catching running backs when it's obvious passing downs, and they don't with Penny really give him that opportunity as much. So
when is a team just going to fully stack the box on the Bears the entire game?
You might see it from the Giants this week.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But again, the Giants were doing that to
but the Giants
Zeke.
Still suck.
Giants were doing it to Zeke, and they were still getting 5 yards a carry, 5-6 yards a carry. Like,
all right, no,
they're 28th in DVO versus the run. New York Giants 3rd in rushing yards allowed, 2nd worst yards per carry allowed, and it seemed like they, I don't know. I mean, it's obvious. You're right. They're not passing with Fields, so like it's.
By the way,
obvious situation.
I got a question for you guys. Did you guys think Saquon looked good last week against Dallas?
No.
Just that big run, really.
That's all he had, right?
Yeah.
Legit, it is the only thing you can think of, because outside of that, the Dallas defense played him so well.
That defense is good, though.
It is. I'm just saying like Saquon's good too. I think he's really good. I'm not saying that. I'm saying like he had a bad game, and what he finished with like fantasy wise.
22. No. Yeah.
It was something like that, right, Kurt?
Yeah, it was 22. He got 4 receptions. They don't. What drives me nuts is they don't just. Screens are so easy with him. Just get him in space and just feed him the rock. It's like, I don't care if you do like a play action run pass with him. You know what I mean? And just
I'm at least happy he's getting like 4 targets a game. Like I would like it to be 5 or 6. I'm with you. Like, get him the ball as much as you can.
If he doesn't get 6,
his floor is so high with the target share that he's getting.
If he doesn't get 6 in the game where they have no receivers left, they have nobody.
He needs to get 20 touches a game.
And they're going to stack. I mean, every team's going to stack now. I mean, what else are you afraid of for the Giants? But I don't know.
I don't think it matters. They're still going to give him the rock.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's when they're stacking the box and stuff in the run is when you just design some screens for them. It's like it shouldn't be this hard. All right. So you guys have any thoughts on Josh Jacobs? Because I know some people have been talking him up a little bit, and his ownership projection seems kind of high to me.
I
just can't play him at that ownership, right? Like,
he needs a winning game script too. Do you think that they're going to be winning? They haven't been winning football games, so it's just like he's fine at 50. I like Dameon Pierce again versus the Chargers at 5,600. I think he's kind of interesting.
I got my Pierce game. I'll come back.
Chargers always been bad at stopping the run, though, right? Or not?
Chargers defense is weak too now that they lost Bosa and who was the other kid they lost? Not Slater, the tackle. I'm thinking of the other defensive guy.
Their whole team's banged up.
No, I'm gonna find it out
right
now. Patterson's in that range too. I think.
I love Cordero Patterson, but he's a little dinged up. But
no, he was last week's play. We'll come back to him too. We'll come back to those guys that pop for 30. Cordero Patterson has popped for 30. Hasn't he popped like twice for almost 30?
Yeah, 25 fantasy points in 2 of the 3.
I think he's good leverage off like Mariota stacks. Or you play him in Mariota stacks.
Mariota stack. Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, I'm playing Najee Harris, and I hate Najee Harris.
Oh my God, I hate him.
Full disclosure, I picked up his Elite Rainmaker card, so I'm gonna have. I gotta play this guy, but no, this is against the Jets. I would play anybody against the Jets. The concerning thing for me here is that his routes have been way down this season. You know, without Big Ben, and I get it. That's a major concern, but I have a feeling this is the game where it's all Najee. So
I will tell you, I got a bet. Big T, 20 points. He doesn't think Najee cracks 20. He's not on the Najee train. I'm on the Najee train this week. I think this is a perfect spot to get on Najee, and he finally breaks through. He's had like 12, 13, 15 points this year. He's going to get us that over 20. He's going to get us 25 here. One of the other guys I did show us at 35. I was like, easy now. Okay, let's get 25. Okay, let's be happy. Let's not get too greedy here.
If he gets a touchdown, he's hitting 20 points this week against the Jets, fantasy points.
I think so too. I
might hit him up. I might have to hit up Big T for some giblets.
Oh. I don't take giblets from my friends. That's a rule. But we do it for fun. You know what I mean? We like to talk shit. But
yeah, that sucks because he takes it from me. He'll take it from me. So
loyalty! Look at that.
You hate to see it.
What I was gonna say though is I do think there's points in that Jets game, and I think that's one of the few hot takes that I'll have that I don't think people will be on is. I think that there's going to be points scored in that game from both sides. I'm going to play some Jets. I'm going to play some Steelers. I like some other Steelers. I think Najee's my favorite, but I like some other guys too. So I think that game's really interesting for DFS, honestly.
Yeah, he's my boy. The funny thing is no one's going to mention Derrick Henry, right? Like he's 8,300. I mean, I get it, but like he's the type of back that could go off, you know? What else is there down here? There was somebody else.
Jonathan Taylor over Derrick Henry for every penny.
Oh, for sure. But like for GB, obviously I like JT first. But but at that ownership, I mean, Derrick Henry is appealing to me at that ownership.
What's JT's ownership though? It can't be too high, right?
He'll be the highest. Or no, he'll be below Saquon. But he's I'm looking everywhere I've seen it's somewhere around 15%.
There's too many good running backs in the mid tier. It's kind of tough to see Jonathan Taylor getting higher than 15%. And I can honestly see it at the end of the day where it's more like 10, just the way people are building and lineup construction. So the problem is we don't have those elite wide receivers on this slate except for Stephon Diggs. We don't have those spend up receivers to kind of get some salary. So it's still gonna, like, people are still gonna spend up for some of these running backs, but that's the thing. We don't have like the Cooper Kupps, the Justin Jeffersons on this slate where people can spend $9K plus on a wide receiver.
Oh,
yeah,
we missed a back. I think it's pretty interesting. AJ Dillon at 6K. I think they're going to be winning.
You're playing AJ. You're playing that game.
I think you would play AJ Dillon.
Eh.
AJ Dillon's they're going to be killing the Patriots, dude. He's going to be the lead back in that situation. Like,
okay, here's my take on that game. This game is going to have. I mean, he's going to get a lot of rushes, but this game is going to play so slow. Like, this is Brian Hoyer, who is just going to hand the ball to Ramondre and Damian over and over and over again. And I think they'll have some success. And then I think on the other side, Green Bay is going to do the same thing because they're not going to need to do much. So I just worry about total play volume in this game. And then you got both backs too to worry about. So it's like, I get it. I get it. No,
Bobby's not playing no one in this.
I'll play
39.5 total.
Definitely.
Oh God.
I might even play Tanya.
No, I got one. So you said Stephon Diggs, right? And he led the Bills in targets last week. But you know who he tied in targets? What do we make of Devin Singletary in his 11 target game against Miami?
I could be
in.
He
looked pretty damn good. But what was it? Just like it could be anybody on the Bills in any given week, or do you think that this is I
mean, look at what Baltimore gave up last week to the Patriots. I mean, the Patriots did whatever they wanted. Mac Jones threw for over 300 yards. I think it was like 321 yards before he got hurt. Ramondre Stevens and Damian Harris had nice little games on the ground. The Patriots really did whatever they wanted. I could see the Bills coming in and doing whatever the hell they want. Literally running the football, throwing it. And by the way, I don't think weather is affecting. I don't think 15-mile-an-hour winds or whatever it's going to be is affecting Josh Allen throwing the football. Like, I don't know if you guys put any stock on like the weather or anything when it comes to like stud quarterbacks.
Dude,
like
I watched
Josh
on
Allen.
Twitter. I watched some guy stand out in the middle of the hurricane and rip a bong hit. Did you guys see that?
No.
He ripped a bong hit in the middle of the thing. So
that's it. I'm never worried about weather.
He debunked weather. He debunked the wind. You know.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. I'm in on Devin Singletary though. I think he's the guy they want, and Josh Allen prefers, and yeah.
And 11 targets. So it's like, I mean, certainly it could happen again. All right. Anyone else we should touch on?
We hit on the majority, I think. Taylor is a great play. Austin Eckler probably going to see a usage bump.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's Houston.
My issue is I just like Jonathan Taylor a little more. That's my issue, but
I do too. I feel like Eckler's kind of, I don't know, you're taking Keenan Allen out. They might want to protect Herbert a little bit more, so they could lean on Eckler. But yeah, I would prefer Taylor also.
I think that's a pretty good tournament game.
Yeah, I do too.
I feel like he's going to be the sharp one that people like get on late.
He never does it. He never
does. Yeah, he never does it.
He got there in week 11 of last season against Pitt of all. And he had like a monster game, and it's like everyone could never forget it. He had a good season, but yeah, I don't know. All right, let's move it on over to quarterback. So, like I said, that we have the top guy. We got three of the strongest quarterbacks in the league. We got Josh Allen leading the way at Baltimore. Baltimore has just been gashed in the passing game. They let Mac Jones smoke them for. They allowed Joe Flacco over 300 yards of passing. Right, like that should tell you all you need to know. Allen has had greater than 30 fantasy points in each game so far. Ravens had allowed the most passing yards so far. Baltimore, second most fantasy points allowed to the QB position. So, I mean, it's just an easy play here with Josh Allen. Easy correlation play with Diggs. But like we said, there's like ways to get difference in this game. Obviously, there's Gabe Davis. There's, you could play Devin Singletary by himself as kind of like a leverage spot from there on, but he got 11 targets. So, I mean, you could play. That could be a cheap option with Josh Allen this week, because it's hard to make Diggs work with like getting a really strong overall lineup. Although we don't have to really pay much at tight end this week, I don't think, unless we're going to Mark Andrews. But other than that, Jalen Hurts has looked amazing. He's now the second in MVP odds on the season. There against Jacksonville, he's had 12 plus carries per game. So like not only has he been a phenomenal passer, he's actually been Pro Football Focus's highest rated passer this season. But 12 plus carries a game. I mean, the ceiling is there. Jacksonville has been really good at stuffing the run, but they've been a lot more susceptible to the passing. Devonte Smith has finally had a big game, broke out, right? Like, just showed they have legit weapons in Philadelphia now. So this is an offense that's humming. It makes a lot of sense. Other than that, the other guy is Lamar. He's going to be the least owned. He's going to be low owned this week. And then this is crazy, right? Like, he's coming off of a 48 fantasy point, followed it up with 43 against Belichick in New England. And now he's going to be at least the projection, a bunch of the other sites and RotoGrinders and the Blitz, everybody seems to have him right around somewhere around 5% ownership. So what's your take on the high end guys to start?
Yeah. So for me, obviously Allen and Lamar are very good plays. My one concern with Lamar is they're facing they're facing more zone with the Bills, and the previous two teams he's kind of went off on the offensive man coverage. My favorite tournament plays up there are probably Hurts and Herbert, because I don't think Hurts is gonna. What's Hurts? Oh, Hurts is getting ownership around 10%, but his pieces likely won't. And then Herbert, I think he's a little bit more healthy than people realize. I do like stacking with Eckler. There's a nice play. DeAndre Carter down at 4K. You can kind of play sometimes in large field GBPs. Gerald Everett's there. I know Keenan's out, but I think, I like Herbert a little bit. That's pretty much it for me. Like, I don't like paying down a QB this week, so I think I'm probably sticking at the higher end.
JSU.
Yeah, quarterback. I mean, I'm trying to keep this a little simple. I do think that Josh Allen's just overall the best play. If I should just pick one, you look at what Baltimore's defense is it's been getting destroyed every which way possible. And coming off the loss to Miami, where Josh Allen, let's be honest, he lost the game. Should have won the game. Bills played scared at the end. I talked about this a little bit, but they tried to run the football 3 times in a row, and they had the ball at like the 2-yard line or whatever it was. They got stuffed again and again because they wanted to bleed the clock. They didn't want them to get the ball back. They wanted the time to roll. They got cute. And then Josh Allen misses the wide open receiver on 4th and 2 for the touchdown. Nothing's telling me, though, that if you just played it normal and gave Josh Allen 4 chances to get that ball into the end zone, he doesn't score on one of those 4 chances. Like, he would have scored, they probably would have won, and that would have been that. But the Bills didn't. So Josh Allen's coming back. He's going to be the spend up I think we all want. I got no issue with Lamar. If you want to play Lamar, I just have Josh Allen a little ahead of everyone at the top. And then Mariota, to me, looks like a very easy value play. We're still waiting on Myles Garrett news too, so that's something to monitor with Cleveland, because I think that's big news for the Cleveland defense. If he were to be out, that's huge for someone like Mariota and that offense, because I do think we see points in that game, and he looks like a very clear value play. My off the board quarterbacks, I'm trying to keep my quarterback pool small. And I'm not even a fan of this guy either, which is going to be weird because this will probably be the only time I ever play him in DFS. But I do think there's points in this game. I think it's a sneaky game stack. And only in Millie Maker formats, I will play.
Don't say Mitchell Trubisky.
Zach Wilson at 5,200. Everyone's gonna think Geno Smith is like because he did it last week. He's like the sneaky spend down in that game because that's the game that people want to stack. So they play Geno. I think Zach Wilson's kind of interesting. You've got Tyler Conklin at tight end. Corey Davis, who before the injury and stuff, he liked Corey Davis a ton. They had good chemistry, it seemed. Elijah Moore's cheap. Breece Hall is starting to look like he's the back you might want in New York. And then I think there's clear run backs on the Pittsburgh side. Najee, if you want to spend up for a Deontay, you can. He's only 6K. But I think George Pickens is another sneaky play. He's 3,800. He's playing 75+% of the snaps. And he looks like a stud. Like, he just looks like he's going to break out one of these games and have a monster game. And why not against the friggin' Jets? And they're going to have all the attention on Deontay and Najee. It smells like George Pickens or one of these receivers could have a big game, but I do think George Pickens is really sneaky. So that would be my sneaky take on this quarterback side, I guess.
I love it. And you didn't mention the Wilson to Wilson connection.
Yeah,
Zach to Garrett.
I said receivers. My bad. I should have said the Wilson to Wilson.
But Pitt 27th DVOA versus the pass. I think you just do Najee, or you could do Deontay Johnson.
With TJ Watt out, that defense is going to struggle all year until it's going to struggle. I hate Zach Wilson though. I literally hate Zach Wilson, so this pains me to say it because
he's dare I say he's a little short.
Oh, you had to go there.
Is he? What? I want to see his height. I want to see.
Pretty sure he is kind of short for a quarterback, right?
I don't think he's that short.
Like,
can't believe you got me playing Zach Wilson.
Oh, he's 6'2". 6'2".
All right, so he's actually 6'1". I always
he plays much short. Yeah. His Tinder profile it says 6'2".
Okay.
All right. I like that though. I like that game too. And no one's they're just not gonna end up going there. I'm telling you, Najee. I'm so happy that you're on the Najee play because that makes me feel a lot better.
I'm on it.
It's all right. So Bobby likes some of these, or did you say you didn't like any of these? So Mariota's again
for tournaments. Like I think you can consider Mariota and cash. I get why people are going to play him. Like I like Drake London a ton. Kyle Pitts.
I like Drake too.
But yeah, I kind of want to spend up at quarterback this week. I do like the Wilson call though. I think that's very sharp.
He leads the league in QB red zone carries. So like over like Josh Allen and stuff like that. So like he is a threat on the ground. He's also been deep passing, which he's never done in the past. He's third in air yards per attempt this season. These are some of the things that people are saying out there. Cleveland is 21st in DVOA versus passing. So it does make sense. It's also in the dome.
In the dome, right? Yeah, clean game environment.
At home, and he can always break a big run off too. So I get it. Geno Smith, I just can't see Geno Smith. I just can't.
I can't play Geno. Geno's just Tyler Lockett just seems like bad chalk.
Then there's Derek Carr. There's Jared Goff. There's no one's talking about Justin Herbert. I don't think, because everyone's scared of the rib. But he had 45 passing attempts. He didn't have a good game against Jacksonville, but certainly could have a better game against Houston, wouldn't you think?
Plus, I like Herbert a bunch.
Plus, it's easy. There's easy stack pieces. Mike Williams with Keenan Allen out. There's also you could play him with Eckler as well. You don't have to, but you could. You could play Gerald Everett. In a week where we're kind of struggling for tight ends, right? Like that could be a kind of a nice tournament play. I think.
Carter is also in the 4K range. I for some reason I'm stuck on DeAndre Carter. I just want to play him in large field stuff.
Play Joshua Palmer.
Palmer would be the guy. I think. Granted, I've got Rainmaker exposure.
Yeah, there's
All
a
right.
bunch of. I like Herbert's options to stack with definitely.
Let's keep it small at player pool, right?
Yeah,
we don't.
That's
I don't
fair.
want to. I don't want to play Russ. I don't want to play Kyler. Carolina defenses looked pretty good. I don't want to. I'm done. I tried to galaxy brain Daniel Jones the other week. I'm done with that experiment. Yeah, so I think we keep it kind of tight. So anyone else you guys want to mention, or are we moving on over?
Move on over.
All right, wide receiver. That we don't have all the high. We don't have Justin Jefferson. We don't have Amon-Ra St. Brown because he's out injured. We do have Stephon Diggs, who's an absolute beast, right? Had a bad game with 11 targets, 74 yards. That's probably his floor, right? Of all games, did have just about a 48 fantasy point game against Tennessee, almost hit 30 against the Rams. So certainly, Josh Allen's number one weapon. This is the game that has the highest total. There's a lot to like. The other guy we have at the higher end that's not going to get as much love would be Devonte Adams, coming off of a poor 2 games, actually, right? Started off hot as can be at 33 fantasy points in the opener against the Chargers, then has pretty much a dud against Arizona and somewhat of a dud against Tennessee. It is a dud against Tennessee when you see what Stephon Diggs did to Tennessee and then followed up with what Adams did. But we have then there's that Tyler Lockett chalk who we're going to get into. I don't like it. I'm with you, Bobby. There's Deontay Johnson, who's just, it's a number one wide receiver against the Jets. I like Najee personally, and I'll probably go there, but Deontay could get peppered, and obviously his upside. There's Drake London, AJ Brown, a guy. I'm just going to throw the last one guy out there that I really like before we talk about our boy. We all liked this play. We all liked Mac Hollins last week. I'm sure we didn't expect him to go for 33 fantasy points, and was he the number one wide receiver last week? I think so.
He wasn't one. He was 2 or 3.
It was a low scoring slate. It was everyone busted,
Yeah.
and then Mac Hollins nukes. And then I like Amari Cooper against Atlanta. It's kind of tough to run on Atlanta, but you can certainly pass on them. He's coming off of 2 good games now, and it's they're 2 quietly good games, right? It doesn't seem like Amari Cooper is a sexy play this week, but he's cheap. He's 6,300, 226 point, 26 and a 28 fantasy point game, big game after big game, and I like this game this week as well. So, and it's in the dome, so this just seems like a good spot. But what are you thinking, JSU?
Yeah. So first off, I have no Stephon Diggs to me just seems so safe, and he's got a massive ceiling. So I got no issues with spending up. I also do like that the spend up wide receivers failed last week, which hopefully will keep the ownership of those type of builds down this week. And maybe that's where we go right back to on some of our builds is spending up. The problem is the pool shrunk of the spend up wide receivers. So you only have 5 or 6 of them. And they're not super expensive like we saw last week. So it's a little different, but I still think it's viable. So Stephon Diggs has to be the number one, but I love AJ Brown. I think this is an AJ Brown week. Everyone saw Devonte Smith last week. If you're just gonna jump on Devonte Smith after not playing him last week, you're just doing it wrong. I think you're just trying to ride the train that already took off, and you're trying to catch up to it. Don't do that in DFS. That's a terrible way of thinking, and that's how most people get burned. If you didn't play AJ Brown or Devonte Smith, then I think it's fine. Just pick your favorite one. But if you were on AJ Brown last week, I know some were, go right back to him. I think he's going to absolutely destroy this team. I think he's going to have a monster game. I love him this week. He's going to be one of my highest owned receivers for sure. And then, like you guys said, I'm in on both Drake London and Cooper. I think they're a nice secondary stack too. Even if you don't play Mariota, you could still play those 2 guys and get a piece of that game within your build. So I do like that.
That
I
I
just
love
think
that.
Amari Cooper might be like the best route runner in football that no one even thinks about. Like he's just
What
so
about-
good at running routes.
Just Cordero and Cooper.
I'm
CPAT and Cooper.
not good. I'm not jumping back on the Patterson.
You're
train.
done.
I'll wait
You're
until
cashing
next
in.
week.
You're cashing the ticket.
I cashed in week 1 and week 3. I'm cashing out, and I'll come back maybe next week. Well, maybe we'll see him next week. Maybe so.
It's like
you never
playing
know.
baccarat. It's you just follow the pattern.
That's it.
All right, but I do like that. I mean, so if Drake London's the play, I mean, I do like the secondary stack of like, filling out, having your other main game stack and then just doing one piece of each side of that game. I mean, that makes a ton of sense with Amari Cooper and Drake London. Or if you want to get fancy and maybe this is the week that Kyle Pitts finally does something. I don't know. Is it possible?
God, waiting on him is killer. Like it is absolutely killer. I thought it was going to be last week. He should have had way more than what he ended with. Like and
he had a pretty good game. I mean, 13 fantasy points looks like a 50 for him.
No, but there was some missed opportunity for some plays that he could have almost had. That would have been
8 targets, 87 yards. I think that's a pretty damn good sign.
No, it is. And they forced him the ball early. I don't know if you watched the game, but like early, he got like 4 or 5 of those targets, I think.
Yep. All right. What do you got, Bobby?
I'm with him on AJ Brown. I have a lot of AJ Brown. Diggs the clear and obvious best receiver play, but AJ Brown's the pivot for me. Christian Kirk, I think, is an interesting run back in that game. I think both teams are going to pass quite a bit. So definitely like that game stack. Yeah. CD Lamb, like I feel like he's gonna get lost in translation. Like I feel like he can play CD again. Like they don't really have any other pass catchers. Brandon Cooks, I know people actually played Brandon Cooks last week. I could not play him in that weather. I think he's in a good spot here, a good run back in the Chargers game, and he's right in that Lockett range. Curtis Samuel's just been getting peppered. I'm not going to play Curtis Samuel. He's up to 5,700, but he's getting a lot of targets for PPR. It works, right? JSU hit on all the Jets receivers, Garrett Wilson, Elijah. The chalky receivers like Josh Reynolds, Matt Collins, Richie James are going to be extremely chalky. They're all in that 4K range. I think an interesting pivot there is Duvernay. Where's Duvernay? Did Duvernay move up in terms of his – he might have moved up a little bit.
He's like 4,100, I think,
he's like 4,100. Yeah, he's in that high total game that everyone wants to play. I think he leads the league currently in touchdowns from the wide receiver.
He's good. He's always
very good.
He's been he's always been their like special team star. It's like he's talented. He's good.
And I think he kind of fits what Bateman is gonna struggle, I feel, more in this game just because of how they play their coverage. And I think Duvernay kind of will be able to run his routes and get open on zone. So that's why I kind of like Duvernay a little bit. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, I don't know. nothing really. I guess Cortland Sutton's kind of I feel like he's in play also. But yeah, that's pretty much it for at the wide receiver position for me.
We didn't talk about Christian Kirk.
We did.
Bobby brought him up. Thanks for listening, Kirk.
Sorry, I was reading.
Kirk, you're how did you miss that?
Supposed to be leading the ship, Kirk. I mean, come on, man.
Look, I'm so tired. I am so tired.
No, I hear you, man. I'm exhausted too.
So I do think though that like if you're not paying up like some of these guys in the mid tier, like Khalif Raymond's going to be an obvious play, right? He's going to be cheap that people look to for salary savings, right?
I think it's going to be Richie James because they're out pretty much every wide receiver possible.
Oh, good. So you're saying Khalif Raymond's going to be lower owned?
Yeah, he's going to be. Yeah, he'll be the lowest owned out of like Matt Collins, Richie James.
I like Matt Collins again. I like Josh Reynolds.
I'm fine with going back to Matt Collins. I'm just saying
he played 97%.
He's going to play the St. Brown role. which I think he does on a lot of it's just a role Jared Goff likes. Like St. Brown is good. I'm not saying but it's a role that he likes. And I think if he's stepping into it, he's someone that people should look to at.
I think he's going to
3,100.
pepper Josh Reynolds.
I like Josh Reynolds too. I'm fine. Those are the two guys I like. So I'm good with it.
I like it. All right. And any other? Keep it nice and tight this week.
I'm keeping it pretty tight this week. So yeah, I will say I also think it's a 3 running back week.
Yeah, that mid range is pretty good, but the mid range is pretty good in wide receiver too.
No,
wait, you said it was paying up at wide receiver was differentiated this week. You like 3 running backs now in tournaments?
No, I'm saying that I agree with you that paying up for wide receiver will be different because it just busted. I'm saying though that 3 running back construction is going to be my favorite, preferred, optimal build.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still agree though that the paying up for receiver build, I could pay down for 3 running backs, Bobby, and still make.
I'm thinking the same thing. So.
And still make the stud receiver build work. So I'm not saying I wouldn't build that type of build with.
You're just thinking about your Jets build, and you can get Taylor and Caffrey.
That's the Millie Maker build, Bob. We're trying not to give away the whole damn thing on the show.
Yeah,
I already gave away 3/4 of the team.
I can't wait to play it. I might just max it.
Once I give my defensive take, that'll be another team I give away. So
it's gonna be the wrong defense if it's not the Seahawks.
Oh God, no. Don't play the Seahawks.
I'm on the Seahawks.
I'm trying to help you out.
2,300.
When they get you -1, let me know.
All right, tight end. It's we've got one high end strong play, Mark Andrews, but Buffalo always has been very good against tight ends. But does that matter when it's Lamar's number 1 weapon, 2 massive games in a row? I mean, it's such an easy pairing with Lamar, at least for tournaments. TJ Hawkinson is going to be chalk, but the opportunity is there for him. The talent has always been there for him. Just hasn't had the opportunity, but without Amon-Ra St. Brown, it just makes a lot of sense. Also without Swift. So
are we really playing TJ Hawkinson chalk in tournaments?
I don't care.
I'm back on Bobby's side now.
I don't really care.
With the defensive take.
I know you were just breaking down the correct play. Like he's the correct play. He's going to be the cash game tight end, but
I don't know if I'll play him or not. But the thing is I don't like anybody really. I mean, I guess Goddard, Robert Tonyan, Kyle Pitts. I mean, it's kind of gross. Darren Waller maybe kind of sticks out to me.
Waller, I think Foster Moreau's out. So Waller
is.
Yeah, Foster Moreau's out. So I think Waller's not like it really matters a ton. I think Waller's a good play anyway. He's gonna be like 5% owned. I like Goddard a bunch.
If he can catch a friggin' ball, he'd be great. How many touchdowns has he dropped this year? Like, seriously, I remember 2 in the first game. How many touchdowns has this dude dropped?
Who, Waller?
Yeah, or missed. Like, how many times
I don't usually play him, so.
Yeah. He's been rough this year.
Goddard, I was extremely exhausted last night, and I was like, he's the highest floor / ceiling combo on the slate for 10.
Yeah, I mean, I read Bobby's lineup HQ blurb, and it just told me to play him because he has the highest floor and ceiling.
Yeah, I don't think Manzi was too happy about that.
Over Andrews, over Mark Andrews.
I just meant in his range, like Freiermuth's in that range. Everyone's going to play Freiermuth. I was just up all night, and it was the first thing I see in the morning. But yeah, Goddard's going to be pretty low owned, so fits the Hurts.
I had a great build last week, and with Devonte, Hurts, and Goddard, and then Goddard got hurt right away, and it also had Dalvin, and he got hurt. It was like it had so much potential, and it was just what could have been. Yeah, I don't really care about tight end. I don't know those are like every guy I named is like the guys that I'm considering. I'm not really like stretching much farther. I don't know unless you guys give me a play that like someone else.
Tanyan,
Maybe Bellinger.
You could play Bellinger. I don't know if that's like I'm worried about like the weather there. And
Cole Kmet, 3,200.
You guys don't like Tanyan, really?
I mean, the problem with Cole Kmet is the target ceiling is literally 13 if he got every single target from Justin Fields.
So I think if we're looking at cheap dudes not named TJ Hawkinson, Njoku and Tyler Conklin are two of the better tight
What
ends.
about Logan Thomas?
He's okay.
Yeah, I don't mind him. I don't know.
No Tanyan attached to Rodgers.
I don't want to play that game, Bobby. Like I'll let you play. If anyone's in playing that game, it's like Stevenson.
Oh, it's Dylan. Dylan's the best player.
Oh God, don't play. Stay away.
I'll play Tanyan. I'd play Tanyan because he's cheap. You know, it just takes one.
Fine, play him. That's actually better. Play the cheap dude. Don't play anyone else.
Pats have been getting killed by tight ends.
Pats have been getting killed by a lot of them.
It's easy.
I mean, when you don't pay your players,
Andrews.
I think the problem with tight end is maybe we should just be spending up for Andrews and not talking about it.
I mean, it's going to be like so obvious, right?
So
like
I
it's
have a
like,
question.
okay,
Do you guys
we've
care
got
about
cheap
the weather
running
at all?
backs.
There's no weather concerns in that game.
I'm here. Let me pull up the raw.
I know we already talked about Allen and the wind. We're not
20
worried.
miles per hour
Pull up
wind,
the
stronger
report.
gusts, chance for rain. But tight ends are usually fine because
So who are we
it's more
worried
like
about
the
with
deep.
this
It's
weather,
more like the
Bobby?
deep. It's more like the deep balls.
I don't know. It seems like every game's gonna have bad weather.
You know what? I have been betting unders my whole life on rain and like wind and snow, and I lose every single freaking time I do that.
All right, we're betting the over, baby. We're doing it.
Yeah, let's. When they say under, we go over. That's how we do it.
That's it. I like it. No 20-mile-an-hour winds messing with Josh Allen's throws. That dude's got a strong arm. He'll be fine.
All right. Dun, 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 dun. We are at our favorite moment of the show, our favorite segment, the Bobby Gomes defensive.
I'm gonna
segment.
either be like a genius with this call or just an absolute idiot. But keep introing me, Kirk. I like where that was going.
I mean,
No, it's done.
Oh,
AKA Bobby Best Ball, AKA Bobby Rainmaker.
Seahawks D 2.3K. You going up against all the chalk? I don't know. I feel like it's a good GPP defense. JSU, give me your D.
That's what you worked on all. That's what we worked on all week.
Well, I could say like, I don't know. Arizona's going to be popular. The two defenses in the Herbert and Saquon game will be popular. I don't know. Defense is kind of spread out this week. I feel
This
like
is crazy. My defense isn't even going to be popular.
the Packers. Do you like the Pack? You're going to play the
No,
Packers?
I don't like the Packers. Get out. I'm not paying $4,100
Let
for
me
the
guess.
Packers. Oh,
Let me guess. Washington.
no.
Damn.
But you got the right game because it's the Dallas Cowboys. I'm coming back after you, Andrew, and I'm coming back after your Washington Commanders or whatever their damn name is, the football team.
Yeah, the Cowboys
I'm coming in on you 2 weeks in a row. Micah Parsons, just take your 3+, 4+ sacks that the Cowboys are going to get. Carson Wentz is going to go blackout for two quarters at least. Micah Parsons is going to run through half the offensive line. DeMarcus Lawrence is going to own people one-on-one again like he's done this year. It's just so good. And then Diggs is going to sit on and probably catch one interception and take it to the house. Like Carson Wentz against the team in Dallas who's just hunting for turnovers and just destroying offensive lines right now and mauling them. Yeah, this is not a good spot for Mr. Wentz. So
JSU got
give me the Cowboys.
What do I get on this bet? I'm still taking the seat. I think that
You're not taking
sold
the
me on the
Seahawks
Cowboys,
over
man.
the Cowboys,
What
Bob.
can I get?
Get
What
outta
can I
here.
get for odds for seat? Like there
Oh
has to be.
God, whatever.
You don't need odds. Have some cojones. Have some conviction in your.
There's
plays
no.
here.
It's a 3-5 defense versus a 2-3
Yeah,
defense. They have to get.
no,
I'm plus
pick-
money.
What are they on
You can't
FanDuel?
find
What are they
another-
on
Can
FanDuel?
you find a defense near the Cowboys? Come on, find a defense near the Cowboys.
No, the Cowboys are the best defense. You sold me, but I'm just saying, like,
Well, the
20 points-
ownership's not saying that. There's literally 10 defenses projected higher than them.
I like the Cowboys.
All right,
Yeah,
The
no kidding,
Steelers
you
would
like
be
the
like
Cowboys.
the Steelers would be like the offshoot. I think they're going to be chalky though.
JSU versus Andrew. I can't wait till next week. It becomes the head-to-head challenge. The head-to-head challenge.
Andrew's going to be back in the comment section, not happy. He's going to be very unhappy.
He's just
Who knows?
that he's going to be
Maybe Wentz
upset,
gets
dude.
it done.
He's
All
not
right.
going to be happy.
All right, are we good? We got to do our favorite stacks for a large field single entry GPP or three entry. I got a crying baby, so I'm trying to hurry this up. But
Go, Kirk. Give it.
I'll go last. JSU started off.
All right. Well, I already talked about this team, so I might as well give it for the low-owned segment. But the New York Jets and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Even if you don't want to play quarterbacks, you can still easily stack up this game in the midst of a lineup construction build, like with a single stack with a quarterback. You can play like the running backs with like 2 pass catchers, like do something like that. But I do think points are in this game. I think the game's lower owned. I like this game. So I'll say this game is the low owned game stack for the people.
Bobby.
Yeah, I'm going to go. It's tough between the Chargers and the Eagles. But I'm going to go the Eagles, like Hurts, like AJ Brown, like Christian Kirk, like that game stack.
I mean, I'm basically lying if I say I like anyone. You know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say take the other side of the Eagles game and go Trevor Lawrence and
I think that's a good call.
Match that up with Christian Kirk and bring it back with either AJ or Devonte. You guys like AJ a little more. I probably like him a little more too. So I think that would be the way to play it. And then layer that in with the Amari Cooper. And I'll say Kyle Pitts.
You have Kirk's tournament team.
I'll say Kyle Pitts there instead because we don't like anyone at tight end, right? So why not? Like if we're gonna get 5 points and everyone else is gonna get 5 points, it may not even matter. But at least he could go off. All right, I think that's a wrap. Andrew, good luck with Washington against the Cowboys. Should be a fun one. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you, JSU, for joining us. Everyone, check out Run Pure Sports. Check out RotoGrinders if you aren't in a know. Check out Bobby and my Grinders live show Sunday morning for our final thoughts for NFL heading into the slate. JSU, anything else to add?
Yeah, no, if you like my content, head on over, Run Pure Sports. I do an Up to Lock show Sunday morning, 11:30 Eastern time. I get on with my guy Holden and Dunkel, and we'll take you all the way up to lock, answer all the questions you guys got, talk about, any final news that drops or just kind of strategy or whatever, but take everyone's questions and 2v2s, whatever it is, we answer them. And we have a fun time. And I got my full player pool up. If you're into MME or whatever, you want to check out like who I'm on, every position laid out. And then my favorite games to target, cheap, millie dart throws, like cheap dudes who you can take shots on in millie maker formats. And then I got my core plays all set up on my player pool page on the site. So become a member, check it out over at Run Pure Sports.
All right. 30 seconds less next week. Okay. When we do that.
No, I'm gonna go a minute over now that you said it. I'm gonna go into like everyone else and what they do too.
Don't forget the Mike Davis UFC winner.
Thank
tomorrow.
you.
I like that. I'm gonna. Are you picking
Hammer.
me up to go to New Hampshire?
Hammer. If you want to take that, it's a boring drive. Yeah, why not? Grab a coffee and hit the road.
What time?
Yeah, I'll hit you up. This
right.
has been the RG tournament, RG collaboration with Run Pure Sports Tournament Takes podcast, week 4 edition, and we will catch you next week.